Sinja 탐제도 도잘라나 마제와 산제의 고마를 뭐 진에게 도가죠. 대시는 배장조스를 납자는 수준을 나와래 신고를 심어를 뜨고 도가래 뜨지 좀 나와지고도 가서도 남자가 좀 얘기 삼삼차.
So let's set our motivation as we normally do to really do whatever we possibly can to attain the peerless state of enlightenment. In the knowledge that I must perfect all the trainings on the Bodhisattva path in order to do so, and to perfect those trainings in turn, I need to have a good understanding. To gain that good understanding, I must be able to rely on an unmistaken presentation of the teachings. And so it is with this in mind that I am here to listen to a teaching from the graduated path to enlightenment, a set of teachings. And then, as we have done in the past, we set up initially the merit field in the space in front of us, with all the members of the merit field surrounding really the central figure of Guru Muninja Vajradhara.
And then I told him to get that because you must have and so she did the yash do Chazan ya do chen and do and to get Chazan Lamatuan to chanting so some such and Lamatuan to chanting or Lamashaja Singiti and Rangichibol Genta. Chibol Genta and took a Japanese Lamata, which was who to the source, because never could show some attempt, Sajo Mato, but the chess so what I did Chiboka to certain Shusha.
And then that we can take all the members of the merit field, again dissolving back into the actual central figure of Guru Muninja Vajradhara, or the Shakyamuni Buddha. And then a replica which will come from that central figure of the Shakyamuni Buddha to rest on our crown. And that's together with our invocation prayer of our glorious and precious Root Guru, come take your lotus and moon seat placed here on my crown, keep me safe in your kindness, bestow on me the attainments of your body, speech and mind. And we recite that 3 times, bringing the replica to our crown to reside and take that seat that we have prepared on our crown, and then with the certainty that the Buddha will remain steadfast with us until we attain enlightenment. So with this in mind, this is how we begin the teaching. And that we are within the protection of really the Buddha on our crown, Shakyamuni And this whole process of invoking the merit field, that we go through the process each time of going for refuge to the merit field and then invoking their blessing with the descending nectar light meditation, initially purifying all negativity, then blessing us and then endowing us with the capacity to really fulfill our potential to attain enlightenment, for example. Gatang nishuzak sum and gilda kowe dewa jitsam long jowa gyang momba neve gay.
기 가발이었어.
그래서 그래서 풍산기 슈바딜레 디 제라게나 제송 바치르 코웨 데와 지산롱 조와냥 ngomba 메바테 게처 월바데
어디 다 간자 저 다다 가서 기부 팅 가도 들레데 또 기부 팅 가도 들레데 또다 간자 저 기부 총을 가도라 조어저 쳇디 대화를 고마 호잖아 치명원도 고마 주에 조어제 다 치명원도 고마 토와 있네 다다 원도 고마 토와 있네 거기 대화 딩켜 가지고 말해 원도 고마데 아니 거 딱바 대마 그 매버 있어 남신나라 원도 고마데 레다 가져대 원도 고마 있네 그냥 솔 마기 딩겨 말해 그냥 솔 깨스 말해 그렇아 그냥 솔 깨스 말해 근데 인베인사 또 원도 고마 토바 잡으라 항상 요 말해 딩 원도 고마디 타바 두발 배주 당토가 거리였어. 타바 두발 배주 당 뭐도나? 아니 코에 줄을 대다. 코에 줄을 대다 봐이나다. 아니 딱 같이 때도 되게 용도고 말이었어. 딱 뭐도 고마 두고 좀 센티. 아니 가서 타바 두배 쳐도. 오다 배주 당토 가지고 거리였어. 근데 맞아 봐이나다. 아니 뭐도 고마 대다. 동해 라실에 밑에 봐라. 어디 숨고 있었어. 다들 어디 참.
So we have arrived at the stage of the stages of the path, dealing with the subject matter related to the practitioner of medium capacity. So this means we have covered the stage of the path of the being in common with the being of elementary capacity, where their main focus was to really lose attachment just for the things of this life and set one's goal to attain a fortunate rebirth as a human being or a celestial being. But having really dealt with the subject matter there, it becomes clear that even though we take a fortunate rebirth, there is no certainty, there's no kind of guarantee, and that there's no we may have for the moment avoided the lower realms, which was a major goal, but there is no guarantee that we will avoid it in the next life. And so here it's clear that there's no true happiness, no true peace of mind, and so this is the kind of a realization to which the person of medium capacity comes to, and they have then the goal which they see is that I must actually attain liberation from cyclic existence in its entirety in order to deal with the causes of suffering, and to overcome the causes of suffering, because unless I actually do that, I will not be able to achieve true happiness. And so here the person of medium capacity is saying, I have this fortunate rebirth at the moment, but unless I use it now to specifically focus on attaining liberation completely from cyclic existence, otherwise I will never get beyond the true nature of suffering.
아니 근데 저 다디 뭐배 타면도 아니 뭐좀도 다 같이 야 동네 차주고도 다 지금 가서 거기 저저 앞에는 가서 된주고 된전도 거기 되게 용거 때 얘네야 때 맞게 맞아 코라야 다 같이 지금 뭐배 타면도 가서 거기 동네를 주종했다 어디를 저 동네죠 오다 오래 그다음 밑에 자시 그다 같이 지금 타면 뭐배 타면 봤더니 뭐배 타면 봤더니 해서 내가 동네에 조버인데 스타까지 뭐배 타면 뭐배 타면은 뭐배 타면 봤더니 내가 동네에 조버인데 로벤 바비 되바대다 토바다 니레신도 때마다 마음도 싸봐 민검나 대외 내세 가시 유 제송자
the one again at the one at the get your role the gelwa la yi
ko de la chizam lo je ja mo be tamete as ga je je wale ke bo la yi de ba kan yi da mo 그제 중앙 인바는 공부 몇 받들어 저걸 하이 되바 칸이다 미유 되바 상보 칸이베 되바 대다 미직 토자다 대다 탐자 미직의 토바 있나야 대 총매다 디 이츠바 중고에 뭐 총매 대장 양초로 야시바지 딜레 하가지 솔로 시송바다 함이 되바 탐자 미직의 토자 원배 탐매다 원배 탐매나 원배 탐매바 되니 내다 동행게做 인데스 다디야 강에 제공보다 로베 바요 도바데다 토바다 니레신도 대바다 마음도 사바 민거나 대외 내제 가시 제 송제
And so that we have arrived at that point of really looking into the general sufferings of cyclic existence, and that one of these is that no matter how much we make use of the stuff of cyclic existence, or how much we attain in cyclic existence, it said that there is no ultimate satisfaction. And that this term, no ultimate satisfaction, means that that no matter how much we gain, or even that the happiness we do experience within cyclic existence, it's not inexhaustible, and it's not stable, and it will transform or degenerate really into suffering. And so this is the kind of nature of it. No matter what fine experience we have, it doesn't last. It degenerates into suffering. And so this is the meaning behind no ultimate satisfaction. And that and then from the Great Play Sutra, or the Voice of the Buddha, it says, O king, if a man were to receive all celestial pleasures, all human pleasures, it wouldn't be enough. He would seek even more. And so it's kind of this sense of a lack of ultimate satisfaction again, and saying that that lack of ultimate satisfaction by its very nature is one of the greatest and foremost sufferings and illnesses of cyclic existence. And again from Aryasura, he says that even though you obtain all the objects you desire, and you enjoy them each day and get many more, you are still not satisfied. What is a greater sickness than this?
저 배는 말아서 미 내달 때나 하고도 말아서 지금 다 미기 지금 가서 남주의 야제치 야다 야제 존에 다 간자서 지담이 지금 야제스도 거야제 돼 이나 야 벤차자베이나 다 배나 뒤주소로 집에이나 뒤주소로 집에이나 거치 지금 가서도 지금 배나 따다 담신다 계속에 지금 semje sen sa ge yor de khona zo jo ja so na an sha yang jo se ge samut le ge mu do ko jo ja zo mi na ya sa ni na ni ko ye ge sam tang ge do gyur bu ko ye an lo ko ye an pu gu lo ko ye ji da ji ge gyur mi ra ko ye da da de ji sam lo tan de mo ba chu mu do ro ta dile de ne za bu le ko yu shu chu bo nyam cha de semje sha la ne ze shu chu bo yong ai de 라라 고바 잠지 배주단도나 지나도 교자 연구대 대삼 교육 연구 말아 봐. 그 되게 마샤네. 아니 영어 되게 좋아. 일단 들려된다. 소소 예나야 이 메시지를 동에 나서 영어. 들려되는 코유라서 와서 뇌제 숙제 뭐 영어에.甚至 현라야 동에 빠도 매와 영어 뭐 지금 뭐 보면 영어 되게 좋아.
So this point here is well understood really from a human perspective, and you know, even when we look at animals in the animal realm, horses and so on, and but any other animal, even like the carnivores like tigers, lions and so on, and that they can hunt, they can kill, they can eat their fill, but then in a few days they're going to be hungry again, and so they have to go and kill again. There's no kind of ultimate satisfaction there. There's a constant search for satiation through food in that sense. And that, but from a human side, we have these kind of mental projections of what we need, what we want, and these can be endless too. Like what we need for tomorrow, what we need in terms of the next year. We're looking for, you know, to have a house, a child, and so on. Long-term needs. and that there is no ultimate end to it. There's no kind of point at which we can say enough is enough. Enough is never enough. There's always this desire for more and more and more.
어떤 정도 다 들었더니 저 코율의 뇌전도에 심지어는 동네에 뭐 가서 nom바면 용대도 와. 다 소소 고와 잠들은 뇌도 뇌그를 때는 대점 뇌전 좀 용고 말와.
And so this kind of less constant trying to service our what we think is our needs and our wants is not just something that affects our own sense of well-being, but in fact you can see how much it damages others as well. That is causing disproportionate disparities between human beings, not to mention the terrible environmental damage that is caused by trying to fulfill these endless needs.
다음에 들었던 다 내가 착습 온 제도 착습데 다 코하게 내가 코할 못는 내가 유연하면 지레도 와.
And indeed too, the very source of these wants and needs is this sense of the mind of attachment, of really this wantingness, which of course is one of the principal causes for remaining within cyclic existence. And until we deal with that, there is no getting beyond cyclic existence.
So shedding lesa kasa da jaje jigde chu junane sa leje wonge chiya saden lo tiba tirwa saden lo kolo juwa ni do junne ja kowa da do yangde ni do juru shedan da ga de nyaba meken chi ko da ga de kowa ne de ba ren da nyaba meken to men nyaba meken cha da hayu de shi do chibo da hayu de shi do chibo da 창니 창제 대와 토멜라 남의 미 부신 좋아해 동의 주민체와 대체로서 다가제 저 참례는 배 저 하이 룰레는 배 지금 대화 봐도 매다 용티지 아 참례는 란을 류된 배 냐외 매이다 부신 소로 찾네 보다 된게 동의 매다 를 류예매시 내고야 된다 다촌 촌을 받다가 참도 쯤에 되게 다 된게 강에 채되게 되게 가릴 때는 연구 열었으나 다 먼저 코아바이다 코아딜로 마타와이자 되게 나다 착생 온게 다 가서다 장단을 놓게 아니 될라 때는 다 간제 동에 나서서 용대 정도도 준비해서 대체로 시행송제.
And then more quotations to deal with this point, and the point of there being kind of no certainty within cyclic existence. It says from the letter to a friend by Ari Nagarjuna, you may be Indra to whom the world makes offerings, but still through karma's power you will fall to the ground. You may be a universal emperor, but in samsara you'll become a slave. And then you may gain the enormous bliss and pleasures of the God realms. Gain the bliss free of attachment of Brahma himself, and later you will fuel the fires of hell without respite, where the suffering is unbroken and constant. And again, I'm saying this is really, the sense of, having been there, done that in every possible configuration within cyclic existence. But from going from the bliss of the celestial realms in the desire realm down to being more or less fuel in the hell without respite, where it's impossible to distinguish your body from the fires themselves. And so this is again looking at the causes that bring this about, this attachment to kind of these needs and wants of never having any satisfaction, to really understand that all of this attitude is simply continually creating the causes to be in cyclic existence and not to get beyond cyclic existence. And then to be just because of being in cyclic existence that really puts you in line for any of these experiences within the realms of cyclic existence.
동네 주매체와 대체로스다 가져데 코아데나 하다베 린달라 가브레다 베 온치보 뉴바치보 시우지 연거르데 안디야 그 뒤주 녜제지네 야데네 디 레페바세 저도 야 동네 시우지 뇽고에 가브가레 베다 지 시우지 온치보 데네 뉴바치보 시우다 하이 게보데 차데데 하드즈로 온주베데 코 가서데 코레기 나 가브레 다 데네 베 쟁게 나네 쟁게 타마 시부지다 지금 가서도 동네 연구에 되대. 다 어때다 아니 냥송을 깨다 못하면 동네 연구에 뭐다 되는 나송을 좀 보다 뭐다서 동네 준체매 봐 댄셀로서 댄셀로 시다 아니 토마 매바나 양양 년삼자에 개베 타 뭐도 매다 토마 매바나 다 데두 고조원에 성지 매봤다 단도 이내야 다 지금 이제 코에 자와 단지 머리보다 무엇이네 아니 지금 다 되네 지금 가서도 코에게 딱 가서도 양조 코알로 할로에게 지금 고지 좀 하도 와이나 못해도다 아니 겨와타 뭐도 매다다 토마라 타요마 가서 타 되네 고조서 요마다 타마야 아니 저 지금 가서 되네지는 조조 그랬으니까 다 매다 랑게다 못트네 다 코에 자와 단지 머리 이래서 못트네 아니 되네 지금 코에 다레 타레게 아니 고지 좀 하도 와이나다 고주에 대해다 다른 주에 대다 지금 좀 하도 와이나다 다른 데네 쇼 와이나 아니 양조 잡아 가고 싶고 차야 되죠 뭐도 매다 루트게 레레 자주시래 사와이 오마 통데 단도 소소이 계획 제소 참여 코알레 데레 체마 니지 동찰로서 왔다 어디죠 세수 받다지 나라야 다 어디지 저다 단도 다 타지 잡아도 양조 딜레마 좀 못도 다 데레지나 타 도그랬어 다 지금 가서다 제마도 그랬다 가도 타도 그랬어 코에 자와 단지 머리 뭐 뭐트 뒤니뭐 다음에 또 메시지 거바지 고추 투바 이나 다 되네라와 이거 잡으러
So just the details, like in the past, how we have had all these kinds of varied experiences within cyclic existence, where occasionally we had rebirth as a very powerful rebirth, where we had great influence and great power, even to be like a kind of a king over the celestial realms and so on. But of course, this is all within cyclic existence, and so therefore, when that particular karma that projected you into that kind of rebirth is exhausted, then one again falls into a lower rebirth. And so this lack of complete certainty within cyclic existence, and that how we have been able to have all these experiences. And so this is dealing with the kind of past, but we're saying that also we have since beginningless time had countless births within cyclic existences, constantly coming into being again, and that there seems to be no end in sight. And so this is looking into if we don't do anything about it, we're also going to be no end in sight in the future within cyclic existence. So where there's no beginning to that suffering, and if nothing is done, then we won't be able to see any end to it. And so what is it that we need to do in order to put a stop to the being reborn in cyclic existence? Well, we must identify the root cause of cyclic existence, and that is the ignorance of grasping at a self-entity, and being able to counteract that, to use the antidote to be able to overcome that. Otherwise, there is, as we know, no beginning to that suffering, but also there will be no end to it. And so until we're able to get to that point, to deal with the root cause of cyclic existence, there is no real hope for any real change from the course of suffering that we've experienced up till now. But if we can really apply the antidote to that ignorance of grasping at a self-entity, then we will have some hope for the future. As it says in, again, Arya Nagarjuna, he says, each of us has drunk more milk than the 4 oceans, and yet because we are a samsaric being, an ordinary being of the common herd, we will be drinking even more.
다 대신 도서 편주 자주의 지기 고보 제와 동바이나 다 지기 참배 직된 레자 다다 나가차 편주 년도 주의 지기 그가 년도 주의 직 시외 냥에게서 다 시발라서 다 동해 주도 말아서 미쇼 단계로 치바사바이나 자주 레자 마와 코아기에 탐민을 되었다 다 좀제들 뭐 삼로 따냐 아니 다 되게 다 명을 되어서 냥에 세월에 양도 냐와나 상주고바 강통와 자존나게 출래야 대 세상 요마이 키다 파도 조아나 메장와에 간소바 대 가사리 개보 흉보이스다 세위에 셀레시도 하고 줬어 아니 가사다 자제라도 제와이 코엔나도 강물과 미기 치매 대과이 뇌도 자소 로마이 시. 다 편주 다도最외치 고보제와 가예와 보나데다 토와의 청배직된 레자테 시수를 치료죠.
And so, with regard to that too, is that pointing out that as ordinary beings, that we have all been each other's like mother so many times, and we've drunk each other's milk enough that would exceed even the volume of the great oceans, it says. And still, it says, if we do not make the requisite effort on the path, again we will have these kind of rebirths again as each other's mothers in succeeding lives, and again drink milk that would exceed even more the oceans. And so it's saying here that if the situation remains as it is the status quo is sustained, we will see there is no end in sight to our rebirths in cyclic existence. And it's again pointing out, just as in that example, the example of when we have been each other's enemies in the past. Again, from countless rebirths right up till now, we have lopped off heads that would pile up to be greater than the great world of Brahma. And also when we have associated with each other's friends, with friends and loved ones, and having to watch them get sick and die and pass away, the tears of lamentation that we have cried again would exceed the volume of the oceans. And this is again reiterated in the text by Ashvaghosha called Dispelling Grief, where it says, "You have time and again in hell drunk boiling molten brass. Even the water in the oceans would not equal it. When you were dogs and pigs, the amount of all the filth you ate would be much greater than Meru, king of mountains. So many tears you shed in samsara's realms when separated from your dearest friends. The teardrops from your eyes would overflow the basins of the oceans. Since people fight amongst themselves, the pile of all their lopped off heads would be so high it would exceed the world of Brahma."
벤조 근처 상보시려면 타마란다 카테 저 도모라 소바 삐삐자라서 근처지 여바이나 타마 카테 줘야지 카테 줘야지다 노데게 도와다 라게 류야전에 카테 줘야 좀 것도 와다 와다들 어디를 분수 좋아 좋아 아니 이때매대 타만 라다 같이 줘야지 어때다 뭐 준이 봐 어때다 코와지 내 잡았잖아 다 들을 때는 동네 나서 좀 어때 봐
And again, also with regard to cyclic existence, it says no matter what kind of high accomplishment you attain, you have to give it up in the end. That's again there's nothing, no certainty about the so-called excellence of cyclic existence whatsoever. And this regards whatever it is we have, like even the high status we attain in life, we have to at some point give it up and fall. Whatever we gain in terms of purchases and possessions, again we have to be separated from them eventually. Even close friends and dear loved ones, again we have to separate. That's the end result of that. Even the body that we came into life with, we have to separate from in the end. And so as long as we don't get beyond cyclic existence in its entirety, we are all prone to the kind of varied sufferings that arise from these unfortunate situations.
다 근데 이면서 다 통계 같이 좀 봐요. 다 통계 되게 타버 주베 줄을 배주시 당마도 봐이나. 아니 류된 같이 야고 이번 류된의 타버 주베 줄을 배주시 당마도 봐이나. 아니 류된 야고도 거치고면 도와. 다 저거 저모라서 빈빈자로서 근데 비다고 저한테 타버 주베 줄을 배주 당마도 봐이나. 처음에 처리도 와. 아니 배줘야 되는 시대다. 타버 주베 줄을 배주 당도 봐이나. 아니 땡기 되기 줄 줘도야지.
And so that really is saying that in all of these scenarios that we should be using all the conditions that we come into possession of to use in order to proceed towards liberation from cyclic existence entirely. Otherwise, to have them is really pointless. The fitness of our body at the moment to use in every way to on the path towards a liberation. Otherwise, it's pointless having it. The friends that we have good relations with, again, to be able to use that situation to create the causes to attain liberation. Otherwise, it's pointless. The wealth that we come into possession of, to use that in the best way possible towards creating the causes for liberation from cyclic existence. Otherwise, there's not much point to it. From Sutra, the end of accumulation is depletion. The end of achieving is falling. The end of union is separation. The end of living is death. And from the Bodhisattva's way of life, having lived as friends for a long time, they will be separated by death. Great sorrow will arise. That is certain in the world.
Rani chibu jigden paru dogobe doa dola ideme rani chibu jigden paru dogobe dola jigden chima pejera dola ideme chujule kenje kebe sharuja shigde soso gejona zawa shenda mechiku kenaye deni jikeshin chinaye deni chibuchi 동해 계신 밀레나 경제 자회 지시자 shesumeche.
And then the next fault of suffering in cyclic existence in general is that that in cyclic existence, when we do pass on, we have to go on alone. We can't rely on anybody to help us through that process. And again, from the Bodhisattva's way of life, it says, even the flesh and bones you are born with are scattered and destroyed. No need to speak about your friends. And when born, we are born alone. When we die alone. What can meddlesome friends do if they won't take on another share of suffering?
계제를 지시차스. 다 지금 정보단 자와된데 고마를 쓴 거요 말이야. 다 내가 착신 제바이나 다 동에서야면 그게 민도가 쓴 거요. 다 내가 되는 최주에다 열와.
So here, of course, it needs to be again distinguished here. The point that it's not saying that friends are not necessary and just an encumbrance. It's saying that attachment is the key. Attachment to friends and friends' attachment to you, that's unnecessary. That's counterproductive. And that, but of course, we can, with our friends, being able to maintain the focus on virtue to attain liberation, then friends can be very helpful.
코알라 타레게 베주 땅두고 요마로 안 된데 동네도 교소거도 뭐다 된데 동네 교소가 자원데 가르쳐 그래서 그런다.
And so here it's saying like this is in a worldly context here we can see again how our thinking that determines the value of every act and every interaction we have, in this case with friends, you know, that if we can with our friends use that scenario, use that situation through our thinking to create the causes to attain liberation, then of course that's a beautiful relationship to have. But the trouble is saying in a worldly context, you see, the usual thing, isn't it, that our association with friends really is about creating the causes for suffering, future suffering through the attachment and so on. And so in that scenario, this is what is pointing out. These friends are therefore meddlesome and useless.
다지 네바 가시 네나 된체베 된조 참에 된데 렌지 더베 되다 다 코웨 동네 타다 보면 타바초 양다 봐서 산제 고바를 뭐지 다 지내자 토바 자고도 토바 자고 대다 젠노바데 라말레 칭글라도 수요서 라말레 칭 지원 라말하이 콜레 되전나가 외세트 잡아 규인바 라시 심제 탐제 다나 타고 심제 탐제 고바시 라시 심제 탐제제는 지원 마 통할 때보다 되거든 안 대다 그 아니 다 가져제 대대게 대조가 대대 가서데 거기 동네 타다 방배에서 타바죠 양다서 산제 고마 토바라 바주죠 디바트 마 짜치수 섭섭체 어느 자네는 대다게다 되게这个 财政 와라 소마다 되게 가리고 되다 마상하면 봐서 다가 또 봐게 봐잖아 라시아 스베 탐제 균이 소스로 어떤 고바시 있어 어떤
And so based on these points, then we reflect on the fact of having found and gained that which is so difficult to gain and so meaningful, and namely a precious human rebirth with the complete favorable conditions. And having attained this now just one time, we should do whatever we possibly can to attain the precious state of enlightenment, of full enlightenment, which is like perfect supreme liberation, which is abandoning all suffering of cyclic existence. And that here, in order to be able to do that, we invoke and make our supplication to the Guru deity, please bless me to be able to do this. And then from the heart center of the Guru deity on our crown, the 5 colored nectar lights emanate, and they dissolve into myself and all other sentient beings, and then first of all eradicating all obscurations and negativities since beginningless time, and in particular eradicating all of the misunderstandings, the obscurations and so on related to gaining these particular realizations, understanding the general faults of cyclic existence and being able to adjust our attitudes accordingly, and that and we are endowed and with all the good qualities of a long life, good merit, and increasing and expanding understanding of the scriptural and realizational teachings. And then also with the nectar light streaming through our minds and bodies, we are endowed with the understanding of realization of just these particular points with regard to overcoming the faults of cyclic existence.
동안 다 어디서 다 니바 코와 소주 동안 지나다 말아서 라면 잘 먹고 로 뉴욕에 아니 라면 먹고 다 로저 제 뉴욕에 다 되는 인도 저 로저서 킹거리 때 얘네 다 말아서 저 가서래 저 딩네 아니 코알라 아니 샤발로토에치 딩네 코알라 샤발로도 아니 야나야도 좀제 초 먹고는 삼로다네 코알레 냐버초에 년종시 개탑지 배주지고도 와다 디신고에 디 하고 그 근데 잠을 참마셔 봤잖아 와다 같이 지금 가서래 다 된게 똑바퀴를 개탑지 배주지고도 다 개치 뭐 이말이야
The second main outline will deal with the sufferings as related to the particular realms within cyclic existence and reflecting on that. And again, it's just pointing out how, for us, we've really come across this information in the past, through our studies of the graduated path and in other contexts, and that we basically understand and know the information. But still, we have to get to the point where we are dealing with our clinging to cyclic existence from deep down, and to really make sure that the information that we are assimilating hits the mark and really makes a difference. In other words, that it becomes a cause for a realization that really will transform our whole attitude.
니바 코와 소주 동네 삼반니세 집에 라말라 kom시뱅간데 티더선데 녜랭게 풍부 시 좁친제 동네 그라실레 마테다 녜랭게 풍부 시 좁친제라 동네 그라실레 미테다 녀소솜다 녀소솜을 주나다 동네 셈고자 밀게 wal레바 있는다 풍부 주발라 때네 아니 지그서다 같이 제바도 고바 소주 동네 다 지금 가서다 다 같이 가서다 다 미지켜봐 있는 다 같이 지금 동에 지금 가서다 다 배는 지금 가서래 저쪽 동에 내서 다 같이 지금 가서 뒤도 땅에 강라야 맞세 버려서 탑나 소저 거는 롱쇼 주바다 다 같이 지금 다 미초에 저도 지금 가서다 지금 랑게 다 대사래 칼라래 담년다래 다 되게 제도 다 같이 강에만 보지 않다 동에 나서 쇼고 왔다 뒤주에 다가는 가와다 치와다 나를 동에 나서 왔다는데 요래다 되게도 그 로다 안 되게 거 저기 밑에 거 토도 봐봐 나서 봐 년도 받아 제외 동가 나서 왔다 같이 잠이도 받아 제외 나서 왔다 동에 나서 정도 라라 저와 중세 지그 중에서 탐제제 라라서 라라 미여베 체체고 겨와 개체 못해 왔다 여바이나 여바를 봐봐야 강에 지어래 여러분다 여래 다 매발을 봐는 매를 봐봐 강에 지어래 다 로다 그 얘기 고쳐서 다 같이 미야 야야 주기만 맞대 왔어서 하는 고마다 잡아야 쳐도 왔어서 봐 그거는 롱저 오다들 저들 봐 소리 또 미시는 땅고에서 동네 뉴스도 동급에 동네 롱저 소에 체도다 체볼라 쇼하다 아니 셈제 태가 담시에다 축조소 축조어서 축조 소멜다 그 중국의 그 샤고에 저서 가서다 소멜 멜체 소게 거네 가서 니모 또 밑에 쳔모 니메제 가서 메제 바 소게 동네 쳔모 니를 겨치에 다 니모지 클라스에 겨치에라서 다 같이 저 수교지에 쳐도 어디데 동네 다 년도 받아 제외 동네 랑이 년도다 년라 요거다 자세다 다 라마상보 변보상보 남자 제나 셈나 냥이 개바 다 동네 개테라 나도 명아 줘봐 루제 잡아서 루제 동네 용서
And so, and again, we begin with reminding ourselves that we are engaging in the meditation on these points with the Guru deity on our crown. So here it begins with pointing out that so long as we are born again, as we take on again what are known as the contaminated, appropriated aggregates of body and mind in a normal birth, we won't ever get beyond suffering, or even the nature of suffering. And so forget about not even, we don't have to mention being born in the lower realms, the 3 lower realms, but even, through taking on the appropriated or appropriated aggregates of a human rebirth, we are faced with sufferings such as hunger, thirst, and the hardship of making a living. And so here, the engaging in just trying to accomplish or to gain requirements of a life. You have to go through so much negativity, suffering, and enduring a bad reputation, and so on, for what you need. And that, and even though you gain a little a wealth, that you have to face so much kind of difficulties, such as having a great tax imposed on what you have. You have to borrow to make more money. You are at risk of being robbed, and then there's this jealousy with competitors, and all of the kind of things that come along with the accumulations of life, and to give up your things unwillingly in this way, so that kind of you have the suffering of loss and of the potential for loss. And it's similarly, if you haven't got anything, then you have the suffering of not having. If you have, then you have the suffering of having stuff as well. And so it's a constant kind of cycle of suffering again and again and again. And that and then that in order to protect what you have, then you may be beholding to those of greater power to kind of offer their a protection to you. Then also you are prone to facing disgrace in what you have engaged in order to amass such wealth and so on, and that this constant sense of argument or insult that can befall you because of what you have, that brings forth in a tremendous sense of anxiety over your possessions, that can lead you to skip meals and go hungry, or miss out on sleep because you are so perturbed that you can't sleep properly. So there's this kind of so much baggage of suffering that comes along with trying to make it in the worldly sense, and that then there's the suffering of parting with friends and what is referred to as the beautiful, and this is those when you have to part from those who are your friends, your companions, your loved ones, your really kind-hearted gurus, kind-hearted leaders and so on, that any sort of parting from them can bring tremendous sorrow that rises, and so you have lamentation because of what they do, or you might fall into kind of a real sense of despair, tearing out your hair, that kind of suffering because of having lost those who you love so much.
안 또도 맞죠. 손제장사 가서 손제장사 개보 맞죠. 안 가서 초종 제장 추 마배 왔다. 심제된 자만 추 마배 와. 그래서 나게 불러라 소바 동계 맞죠시. 라자 되게 맞죠. 어다 나지 불륜제에서 불륜제 대 불륜제 대 잡고 좋네. 진짜 되면도 좋다. 라제 나经济降本，让我经济降本能当，让你前面本南就是正规结构的所介是东个生命没这么有些，为对面我拖到别别东个呢，给我的全部所介三百的，进不的，进不的，经济多个所介是东个有些。
So then the next of these sufferings is saying that we must meet with the ugly or the undesirable or enemy and so on. And so here it's saying that, like, you know, if you have to meet with an enemy, just the very fact of being in their presence is like darkness falling around your whole world. And it's only when they part that seems like daybreak seems to break out again and you have light in your world again. And such is the pervading influence of those who we see as really in a negative light. And that also we have the fear of that enemy, injuring us, undermining us, or even killing us, and so on. And these are all experiences of suffering. And then there's the suffering of really desperately searching for the things that we want, but not getting them, not finding them. And so here, if we haven't accumulated the merit in previous lives, that we may become poverty-stricken in this life. And so here we may have to suffer for being bereft of food, of clothing, of a place to live, shelter, and so on. And that even though we have some land and we farm, we don't have successful harvests. If we engage in business, we don't make a profit. If we have livestock, our herds will not increase. If we try to get a loan, we won't find anybody to borrow from, nobody to give us, trust us for a loan. If we even beg, we will not have any donors. And that's here we also have the thing of, receiving harsh reminder notices to repay loans that we have, and that and because we can't do anything about it, because we are so poverty stricken, then we are have to face the scenario of being a servant to people that we owe money to, and that they may be of a lower social status than we are, and that we can't do anything about the kindness that they have given to us. So this is kind of like an inconceivable state of suffering for us.
다 근데 이제 되게 동해간가 소소로 여마여기 내가 말해. 다 지당 알아서 지켜와지 내가 저 되게 동해 요게 요구요 왔다. 요구요도 되게 동해 요게 다 잡을 디날 단다 예시 말와. 예시 다 야 참장 알아서 요만은 워터 맞죠 도서 그 대인에 다가자 동해에서 예시 말해. 아니 마오발 단다 매바 있네 마오발 동해 된데 마요에게 규가토요 말이. 규가마도는 제보도 연구를 와. 용어에 되는 체. 어떤 다 이거가 공부시했잖아. 다 간제 삼로 단저 왔다 된대지. 가서다. 어떤 되는지. 다가는 다 이거가 가르쳐줘서 소지 깨와들 연구요. 아니 깨와 갑래 다 동엔 나서 시야 깨와 동엔 다 깨와 갑들 다가라 하려냐. 다 동엔 나서 왔지. 깨와 동엔에 마이응에 미상와 뭔가서 미상라서 진남바 미자외서 부바 미자외서 부바 세베 나도 서다 가서도 꿈내 되봐 다보 다와고다 뭐주 통zam도 되고 봤다 내내 자외서 루주미를 잡았다고 그래서 마테 라베스 가서 치료할래 장사 동에 치료도 전에 두자 당분란 내시 이제 자시 줄을 주고 두자 니발라 계기 동자 계주 두자 숨발라 그래서 심비오지 계제시도 룰라 죽전 전남지 치류 닝보다 제 그래서 닝보다 제 그래서 제공다 이미 대화다 내던 남지에서 규제발에서 개와대 동에 탐지가 뇌인대에서 뇌인대 시정을 코와된다 라고 합니다. 야와이다 또 남다도 개와 상부 말라 개와네 너바두면 뇌교 라 너바두면 뇌교 라켄 제단점
And again, the suffering of having to meet with the undesirable, or that which is misfortune in our eyes. And here we can be unfairly treated by kings, or robbed, or held captive by bandits, and so on. And there's always this fear and suffering. And then there's the suffering of birth itself. And here it talks about the situation within the mother's womb being filthy and foul smelling, and that here it's like being in a flaming cauldron, and we're hunched up really in a very stuffy situation for 9 months and 10 days and before we can come out. But then coming out then is again like in a coming out to a very, very narrow space, and like we're squeezed and tangled up in a very suffering way. And it's like when we do come out, it's like we're like the whole body feels like a sore wound, and again feeling this terrible feeling of being squashed, and that within the first week of being born, they said that 404 diseases can enter into the body, and that in the second week that 1080 obstructing spirits enter into the body, and in the third week that 84,000 different parasites and germs enter into the body, and this makes the body both weak. We are hungry, we are thirsty, we are unhappy, and this kind of really creates a tremendous amount of suffering for us, and that all of this really points to the fact that just the very fact of being born is like we are creating in that birth just a cauldron or a container of suffering. And that here, when we talk about it, it's really we should center on the very fact of birth itself, of being born, because as soon as we are born, that sets us up for all sorts of suffering, and that even though we may not really recognize a lot of these sufferings that have been described as relating to ourselves, but we can understand that they are definitely present in the world, and we may know people who are really tormented in these ways, and that but we have to understand that even though we don't experience them ourselves now, we have imprints on our minds that will definitely ripen into these kinds of sufferings in the future, and that if we have the cause on our mind stream and we don't do anything to put a stop to that cause, then it will ripen as a suffering result for us. And so we have to deal with it at that point, and to create to put a stop to the causes, so that we don't have to experience that result. And what it's really pointing out here is that the cause, the principal cause that we should be dealing with, is the cause for taking rebirth like this in this cyclic existence. And from the again letter to a friend by Aryan Nagarjuna, he says, because samsara is full of suffering, whether as a celestial being, a human, hell beings, hungry spirits, or animals, there is no good birth. Therefore you should know birth itself contains countless miseries. So it's really saying, again, no matter where we are born in cyclic existence, no matter what kind of birth we take in cyclic existence, it comes with its share of suffering, all there.
다 코로나 법에 동네 주요 그래서 대자마서 아니 저 코로나 법에 다 거와인 바이네 내 상벌 그냥 디기 줘다 디기 뒤에 그 때도 디기 매바이사 때 디기 매바서 저 가서도 동네 거를 주줘야다 다가 내신게 아니 저 가서다 동네 빠도 매베 내래 아니 다 가서도 저 가서도 다게 마게게 아니 가서도 다 주가마도 인자 아니 되게 유에 되겠지 되게 인도 다 되네 타바지 마중아 임바이나 다 쏘다 매되겠지 그 앞에는 나라도 수인바이네 치와스도 셰되기도 다 치와스도 셰되도 다 치와데 가와나 깨와데 가마도나 치와데 가투고도 레뉴기 온게 치와들 마시가 수가요마 다 셰되도 다 디가에데 레뉴기 깨와데 가마도나 치와 가투고도 다 레뉴기 깨와 가발라 아니 데데케게 아니 주디 가고도 다 주야야야 파도가 있나 아니 다제 마릭바 다 다제 마릭바 온게 용거 여바 인자 아니 디 녀바 다음에 도베 샤라 마고나 탐모도 왔다 탐모도 와
So it's really here pointing to the inevitability that not only wherever we are born within cyclic existence, we are in line for just a tremendous, bewildering array of sufferings that will ensue after we are born, just at the very fact of being born, rather. But not only that, but that the happiness that we experience in those rebirths, in that context, is contaminated happiness, and that it's nothing permanent about it at all, and in fact it will change, degenerate into suffering. And so here we have to look into that scenario with kind of clear reasoning to say that if things are to change, they must be changed at the causal basis. And here, if we don't put any effort into stopping the causes for all this to come about, we can't ever expect any change to come about, and we will, eventually it becomes unbearable to even deal with that. And so, at the moment, we would say, what's the most fearful eventuality in this life? People would put their hand up and say, death is what scares me the most. But that isn't really where the focus should be on. It should be on the fact that of birth, and that because as long as you're born, you're going to die anyway. That's inevitable. So if you fear death, you want to stop death, you have to stop birth, and you have to stop being born under the influence or through the influence of karma and the mental afflictions. And this is where you have to stop that process, and this has to deal with stopping the main cause of being born in that way. And that means dealing with the root cause, and that is the ignorance of grasping at the true existence of a self-entity. And how do you do that? You do that by cultivating its direct antidote, which is the wisdom of selflessness. And otherwise, I say there's really, we have to reach a point where you say, having contemplated like this, having looked into it like this, there's no choice for me but actually to do this. This is the only course of action I should take.
lobul meshona deta chido kiwa tangne kyang yangsi mebar kile becete dewe checho goba shemachi sta kanje chi re ta kanje chi ngune ta ne ge ta chi dewa doge mitung ge jiyo ina
여봐이나 다 가자 왔다 가자 저 랑기 로불라 랑기 고함 야나 고라 저 가서데 저 제단을 넣어서 매치 쇼이나 메시지 개침을 딜레 개쳐와대 안지 개와 치마 어디 가서라 딱 레뉴게 시간에 개발래 먹어야지 왔다 딜레 배주제데 개쳐와랬어 딜레 개쳐와 줘 말했어 왔다 그때 딘주가 대대주 연구 이번에 디샤네 디 딜레 딱 가서다 배주제데 개쳐와랬어 수고도 하고
And again from the letter to a friend, it says, you would consider it important to act decisively in putting out the fire that breaks out on your head or clothing. But there is nothing more pressing than to strive to ensure no further rebirths. And it's saying really here you have to put it into context of what really is the priority. If you really, the one who really wants happiness, who really wants to overcome suffering, that here you would say that, okay, if a fire breaks out on your very body, on your clothing, you would consider that a priority to quench that fire as rapidly as you can, without further ado. But it's saying you have to have the attitude of overcoming karma and mental afflictions in order to stop rebirth, with even more a sense of priority than that. That's saying this is more important to deal with this, to stop birth through karma and mental afflictions. That's more important. So it's a really key point, again, saying to have that sense of intensity around that particular point. Very important.
다 가외 동네에서 가외 동네네 가서 개바 슈더 구바 고보 잡에 메도다 가와 가서 저와서 가서 전된다라서 저와서 제된다 님에 개바 개바 또 냠배서 저차 녀도 가와 저차 녀도 가와 아니 저 가서다 밀라 소베 공부당 가서다 지세 가서 공부당은 짐미세도 다 미세미세 차트에 송하다 안 되베 연대라 저바 미누바 다 저바 미누바 다 아니 페이지 가서 세 페이지 세 치와로 모두 저바 소제 동에 삼미미자와 중에서 중우자
And then it says the next is the suffering of aging, and here it describes that the physical situation where your body is bent like a bow, your hair is white like a flower, your face is wrinkled like a straw mat, and that you have, due to a loss in strength, you find it very difficult to do anything, to get up, to sit down, to walk, to go here and there, and then you're losing your senses, such as your eye sense, your eyesight becoming dimmer and dimmer, and that you can no longer enjoy the things that you used to like and desire. That most of your life is already over, and that the coming death is becoming more and more obvious, more and more closer. And this brings an inconceivable suffering.
배나 장다 지에다 칸마 카주 자외다 게자다 다 상부 자다 보시에 모두 안 지금 가서다 점반 냠조에 단지 좀 좋은 되기도
So it's really pointing to the fact that the physical degeneration, the body failing, brings with it a commensurate and even greater mental suffering. that we're losing our power, losing our strength. We have the senses no longer in control of our faculties, and that and also with the memory failing, the various different dementias and so on. This brings a really horrible sense of anxiety and frustration and terrible mental sufferings with it as well.
그래서 나외 동에는 루기 샤다 당 냠시 이미 대화다 되베 세서 죄로 오메지 아니 가서자 제 좀못 된거 봐. 그다 언제 된거 같다. 가서데 시도베 동에다 엔치베 동에네 그래서 녀다 룰롱조 코요 소다 제고 봐 소죠 동에 유대서 자처져 발래 치다 포다 치보 되제봐 파시 도베서 기보 다도체 치미 원시 체바 주마이 신뢰 그래서 로주 자신
And then the suffering of sickness, and that here is that when we fail away, we have a fading complexion, and that the body really degenerates. It brings with it again a lot of mental misery, and that here again we can't enjoy the things that we like. We have powerless in our actions. We have to undergo like crude examinations. There's the constant fear of death, and all the attendant sufferings that go with sickness as well. And that then there's the actual suffering of death itself, and that here the having to part with our beloved friends and our possessions, our wealth, all our companions, this sense of separation from them, not to mention having to separate from our own body, brings with it inconceivable sufferings as well. From the quote from the Great Play Sutra says, time makes for death, leaving, and leaving in death. Forever you are separated from dear and pleasant people. They will not come back. There will be no reunion. How like falling leaves or the flow of a river.
데려다 소소 오스다 로게 마차 수부도 오스여봐 이네 다 소소 녀마게 소소게 저 규이제 저와 이거 그가 매바 차네 데레가 동에제도와 통대스도와
And again, something that's quite obvious, isn't it, for people who reach an old age, is that they might be still around, but they have to face the fact of all of the people that they used to know are dropping away one by one. They are dying away, and that brings tremendous sorrow to them every time as well.
아니 지금 가서 다 되면 뭐부터 믿어 토도 보발라서 다 간제 다가니 제가 집에 동에라서 봤다 술래이네 개와실에서 봤자 두가 또 미치 개와실에서 봤자 두가 다디 말아서 소술래 사무당 쪽으로라 소술 칠래 요게도 사무당나 뭐 트레스도가 다 된데가 동에 서고 뭔도나 아니 디 유카레 제전에 빵투바지 마중아이나 모두는 치마 편절에 뒤 동에도 용되기로 하기 dendu kewa sileba yine nya so ma ge dendu kewa sileba yima yina ya motu de ti tunga de yon de gerwa ta ti tunga de me ba je so ma to ba yina ta da de so ma to wa na ne jama de so to ye ra ba me de ge ka de so wa nam ju shi ju me na so to ma wa ta nam ju da ren mi lu le ba de le nam ju cha chi da yon da ma ta pe ju tang ma tang sin de ju lo ka wa.
So So really, it's all of this litany of sufferings within cyclic existence, must lead to a desire to become liberated from cyclic existence altogether. Because we know that once you're born again into it, then you're in for all of this kind of suffering. And even to be born in a good life with good faculties, and good conditions, is no big deal, because you're going to face these sufferings, the inevitable sufferings of old age, sickness, death, and so on, not to mention all the other attendant sufferings as well. And this is something that we have to, really reflect on, to understand that this is the reality for us and those who are next to us, those who are near us. And it must find us to be unbearable. We cannot put up with this anymore. This has to be something that we have to understand, that if I don't do anything about it now, it's also just on the cards again for continuously into the future. As long as I'm taking birth in this way into cyclic existence, this will be continuous. This is my destiny for the future. And so I have to be able to do something about it now. If I don't, there's no hope of any change in the future. And so it's kind of like, I have the intelligence to be able to understand that this is the reality now, and I have the human rebirth through which I can actually do something about it. But it means I have to put it to good use. I have to really say, this is the faculty of human intelligence that allows me to be able to really start to really do something concretely about this now. Otherwise, what's the point in having that intelligence?
어디래도 왔다 가잖아. 단단 가라 쪽에 단단 저기 가서라. 지금 체디 내다지면도 강한 신경이 말받다. 강한 신경이 말. 체디 내다 지금 지다시 마신 지금 아키와 메스 그 신경을 지지스다. 근데 제가 고관에 치마이나 고관에 치마는 모두네 다 동행의 주주 아니 모두는 동행이한테 아니 개월지 두바 임바이네 개월지 두바 임바이네 코웨디기 규지 좀 되거나 모두는 다 동해되네 타게도 와 동해되네 마다도 아니 마다바 갈라다 데데 개월인데 야는 모두는 동해 규주부사 다 다른 시라게 제마도바이네 바자지 샤도 받잖아 즉 타바탑 데데 개 맞아 있네 타베기 즉 바자지 샤도 받잖아 개와 치마들라 지금 타벨람을 배줄 제투 투겐게 류데슬레 타벨람라 쭉 도나 지금 요에게 저 고지 다리네 좀 마도 봐 이마이나 안 배방버리도 와.
And so that's in this life, if we kind of just remain so obsessed with the stuff of this life, the outcomes of this life, the accomplishments of this life, what we know and don't know in this life, it's really a case of tremendous self-deception, and that it's really going to creating the causes that will only lead to more causes to experience suffering, and because we will only ever be reborn again in cyclic existence. And even if it's a fortunate rebirth, it's still only experiencing the happiness of cyclic existence, and that we know that is in the nature of suffering itself. We know that degenerates into suffering, and so there's no end to cyclic existence in that sense. And so we have to start to strategize again based on the understanding we gain through human intelligence, to say, okay, I must make a beginning, I must make a start. And even if I don't achieve the state of liberation from cyclic existence in this life, I must lay down solid imprints on my mind that will, one, be able to lead to a fortunate rebirth in the next life, so that I can continue on the path and there be more committed. And so here, it's a very much kind of case of laying out a plan, a long-term plan for ourselves.
아니 하이 벤조라 미스베 차도다 안 되네다 하마이를 개와시 레바이네 아니야 그 차도야 그도보다 하마이 얘네가 풍부 주발할 때는 하이 벤조 로즈데 비슈 소소를 비다가 요자 미스베 차도기 아니 이도에 동에 델라 때나서 루 토도 그래서 델라 때나서 루 토도 베베 동에 용베 돌레 얘네가 풍부 주발할 그래서 또 일랭이 풍부 주발할 때는 하마이 만남다 탐나 야라다 니라 제바다 아니 루 제바다 매바다 매바다 소바소도 동에 용해서 미드시도서 아니 치대 포대서 하이 배조다 되네 녀석도 동에 녀고바 셰베 동에 녀고 대서 다가 다 되베기 다가 다다데 로다 가자제 미마세 하마일라 개바이네 하마일라네 지금 하기 한국어서 통고 요바인자 소설 내고 한국어서 통고 요바인자 아니 돌아데 돌베 통계 야보자 딜라 소설 통계 되는 매저는 저 차도 왔겠네 셈마기 맞자 아니 딜랑가면 파 지금 할 타발라 소바데 제 쟤네 딱 가자 아니 되네 하기 아니 수 지금 가서다 천자들의 방어도 아니 지금 천자 방어하다가 소설 근데 다 포함해 아니 저 내가 지금 용한테 동네 나서 뭐 용한테 다 대마자 돌아를 개봐 얘나야 돌아를 개봐 얘나야 뺀줘 튕겨다 그래서 빼면서 야부 요할 때 얘나야 같은 로통라만 못 되는 하이 디기를 런전 다디 평범 제온도 에 하라 치대 포원도 야 지금 동네 나서 뭐 용 하도도 하이 치대 나서도 포원도 아니 지금 랑이 개와치마 가와기고면 통화되고 여러 랑이 대할 대니 되고 남줄 하스는 짱마시고 지는데 아니 다 되네 소소를 문화 자 고조도 지마크고 여래 아니 매도한테 마 냠 계제도 마 냠두고 이래 남줄 하다 보도 보면서 수 걸고요 뒤져 걸고요 말이야 마고가 간라 아니 뒤져 가서다 코나 뒤 동해 통화도 동해 되고요 말이야 와다다 치대 봐서 강에 시주 이야 되게 와다 근데 저 할게나 항상 매들 돌아서 죽게 되고
And then it points out then the other kinds of rebirth in cyclic existence, such as being born in the Asura realm, and that here, based on the taking on the appropriated aggregates of the Asura realm, that here these beings, seem to have reasonable, good facilities for themselves, but they are beset by tremendous jealousy and envy for what they see in the desire realm, celestial realm, and see these celestial beings as possessing superior facilities to theirs. And so they are constantly in a state of conflict based on, promoted by this tremendous jealousy. And so tremendous harm ensues because of this. And then in the desire realm, celestial realm itself, again, the way it's described as the facilities and so on, the wealth there is unprecedented and unsurpassed, and it looks like a perfect situation. But because they are in a cyclic existence, and because of these conflicts with the Asuras, who are so jealous of what they have, they are forced into conflict and suffer cuts and having their limbs cut and losing their limbs, and even losing their lives and so on, and being wounded. And that and particularly in relation to these desire realm celestial beings, against their will they experienced what are known as the 5 signs of impending death, and that these basically are separating. They see themselves being separated from all of that, of what they've become so accustomed to, the tremendous indulgence and the tremendous wealth and enjoyment that they have experienced so far. and they start to experience that which is distasteful for the very first time, such as sweating, and that their flower garlands fading and so on. They're being isolated by their own companions that they were so close to them just recently, and they can't stand to have them near them because they smell, and so on. And then not only that, but they can see what their future rebirth is going to be, and they know it's going to be a lower rebirth. And so this brings tremendous mental suffering to these celestial beings. And so the conclusion is, we can see that there's no real advantage to being reborn in either Asura, as an Asura being, or a celestial realm being.
Tori chibo sa tinje nga de nga kasa la yun level hana la chungte sa de mina chiwa juwa shin sa sheda shin hana mala tuwa ne tunga ra to kyawa ka dena semje nyawa ye chuju chaya mi be to sta kan ja ji kaso de de tunga da 데데고 동에 좋아 갈다 이게 동에 빠도 몇 번째 미게 지가서도 녀선을 깨되게 냐와를 깨되게다 지금 동에 차 되겠지 가서는 나게 되게 지금 되게 열와 지금 다다도 동에 안 가만 기고 버시고다 답신이 요 말에 어떻게 셰송배쳐서 다 강고면 일년就풍부 주장사 내라 라와 마토바 인상가 제게 레슨 편바 세나 녀소도 동에 빠도 몇 번째 다 감고마서다 다들 뭔가 딜라다
And just to reinforce this point, as a quote from the letter to a friend says, their body color becomes ugly, their thrones do not please them, their flower garlands fade, and their clothes pick up stains, and their bodies sweat for the first time. These are said to be the 5 omens of death. These indicate they will die and leave this high rebirth. When this happens to the celestial beings in the celestial realms, they proclaim that even people beyond the earth will die. So these are the omens of death. And likewise, it says, again, I think from the letter to a friend, that even the suffering of hell beings is less than a tiny fraction of the intense suffering that celestial beings experience during their downfall. So it's really pointing out that we know that the physical suffering of the hell beings in the hell without respite is the greatest of physical sufferings that can be experienced, but that it pales into insignificance when compared with the mental suffering of these celestial beings when they know that they have to leave that which they've been accustomed to for so long.
No, because 강고만 예len게 풍부적이다. 다다는 그러면 다 나라서 미 땡게 디기가 스모가 인세와 있네. 아니 다다데 이거 순간배가 하이 디기라 둘사매래. 먼저 순간배 하이 디기도 어디 상계 면제 삼사 처리래. 그래서 먼저 상계 규요 말와. 먼저 루네 다 루기 내단다 간지도 때가 있나. 뭐다. 다 대야다 되게 유티는 차대도 와. 타마데다 뭐다 가지 가서 레기 페버 세트도 어떻게 동네 요대지. 타마데 로똥다만 보다. 다 딜레 아니 순간봐. 뭐다 순간에 내다 시작이야. 다 순간보다야 지금 가서다 추dim송 가서다 다들 지금 가서다 추dim송자다 가자 지금 가서다 미게 주본 거 추dim송네 다 레고고요다 다 대자 많이 자 땡가진 거 레고고도 와. 되벨 하다 되베게 밀게 wallem발라 가서다 삼대 무시들이 토고요 말이 가서 미게 주본 거 추dim송이 끼고도 와. 와다데 다데네 가서다 순간만 끼월라 냐바도 다 땡가질 때는 끼고고요. 땡가질 때는 끼고도 아니 되베 녀몽 빵네 끼고고요. Debe nyumo mabala kamgo mati ke tu la mare te debe nyumo le kyo de debe digile tunga to te wote chan kamgo male ke wale ku yore wote de chan daga kam tene kamgo male ke ba yin ya ta nyelang bu tuja nela rawa ma to ba yin sa nga che ke le sang bu phaba ma se to de sa che ke le yin ba sa phaba ma se ne an nya so to tunga ba to ba yong gu yore sa yo zu bu ra ta ka de 가서 잡아 두지가 동에 요바 있어 어디 용태를 대를 마세 감 건도 개베서 소소 기본놈 소소도베 셰람기 해서 균 까네 개발라 소베 빠도다 개발을 봐서 내봐다 개발을 봐도다 근데 땡에서 봐 내두고 요다 내봐 이나요 동감소 개장练习 데모기에서 가서 리다 셰체라 타바토발라 신도 부어서 그相对了 送给 吃了 当然 真的 就是 当然 年年 就 풍부 的 菜的 给 干 拿 去 说 给 是 电解 东安 给 是 东安 的 9月 东安 你 给 你 的 去 你 个 是 这么 菜的 来 这么 起码 来 的 去 你 个 这么 年年 就 풍부 主把 咱们 都 咱们 呢 对这 些 是 希望 都 希望 这 都 给 的 那 连 可是 连 用 俺们 希望 都 9月 是 对这 他们 这 그래서 두제 탐제 두제가 동해 때문에 이미 칠사 근데 이번에 되나 내년에 풍부 장신 전제에서 코와를 줘야는 라마레 지금 코와를 줘 왔다기 지금 대다 전에 봐 라마레 지금 라도 소왔다 쳐
So this deals with then the possibilities of these rebirths in the higher realms of the celestial beings and so on. We see that you're not beyond suffering, and indeed you can be prone to this tremendous mental suffering. And so but from our point of view, when we're looking at if we had a view, for example, into the world of the celestial beings, we would see such an incomparable happiness there, and for a long period of time, that it would appear like, oh my goodness, they've achieved enlightenment or something like that. And you can see that this is absolutely not the case, even though it looks stupendous from our point of view. And that, and then it goes even further then, like in the other realms of cyclic existence, the higher realms, and that's saying that this also is not beyond cyclic existence, even though it looks absolutely remarkable from our point of view. And that, that we say that to attain the higher rebirths of a human being or celestial being is greatly based on perfection of ethical conduct. That to attain rebirth in these higher realms, namely the form and formless realms, that it not only relies on excellent ethical conduct, but it relies on also their development of meditative concentration. This is a definite part of that, and along with that, in being able to cultivate such meditative concentration, they must actually gain a tremendous distaste for the desires of the desire realm, and to be able to see the faults of the desiring in the desire realm. And so they gain, but they still have this clinging for a higher bliss through their meditative concentration, and that they don't get beyond what is known as pervasive suffering. And so here it's saying that when those beings are taking rebirth in the appropriated aggregates of a higher realm being, they are powerless in that situation, in that scenario. And when that positive karma that they have accumulated to get there, when that exhausts, they will again fall into the lower realms, and that brings countless sufferings to them. Not only that, but there's a particular characteristic related to those who are the ordinary beings who are reborn into the higher realms, in that their discriminating wisdom is compromised. And the sort of saying here that there's a limited continuity of their discriminative wisdom, and this is a very damaging characteristic to have, and so that they can remain in that state for eons, but they and for example the desire realm beings who are born in there, their sort of stupidity and their dullness greatly increases, so that they become ever more distanced from the state of liberation. This is as stated in Chandra Gomin's The Praising with Confession. And so I was saying really briefly that for as long as we have these appropriated and indeed contaminated aggregates, we are always prone to being born and having to suffer birth, old age, sickness and death, and all the attendant sufferings that go along with that. And so here is saying that these appropriated or aggregates, that they are in this case being synonymous with pervasive suffering, tends to induce the other two kinds of suffering as well, the suffering of suffering and the suffering of change. And so therefore it's saying that, you know, that it's the mere fact of having these appropriated aggregates means that we are conditioned by a karmic formation, and that the karmic formation so what we say is this being powered or being controlled by karma and the mental afflictions, that is the truth of our being conditioned by karmic formations. And so here it's saying that it's really having to get this point, and that the cyclic existence which is in the nature of these appropriated aggregates, and that we have to become liberated from that. And we pray, please Guru Deity, please bless me to be able to attain the state, the precious state that is beyond that. And that so on. This then we invoke the merit field.
다 되는지 맞죠 저와지 제모도 다 자원의 레메도 내 저와지 한 저와 제네보다 라마산제지 고바를 붙여 지네저 도마 맞죠 타면 도마지기 대다 제네보다 다 라마레 지겔라도 수스 대소 왔다 발라 때네 지원 라마레 꿀에 두제나가 외세지 규번에 라다라도 쓰면 탐제게 지원이 뭐 도와면 뒤바다 케바도야 아니 다 가자지 대대게 아니 월다 지금 도바줄에 개발라 안 바주주 디바데 게리테라서 장소 삼사 다 대다티 도바 개와자 라시 심제타주 줄에 계속 삼사 적원들죠.
And that so it's really understanding this key point of to be able to do whatever we possibly can to attain the state of enlightenment, which is the liberation from cyclic existence. By understanding that this cyclic existence is in the nature of the appropriated aggregates. And again, we make our supplications by saying, I will do whatever you possibly can to be able to do this. I pray that I may be able to do this. O Guru Deity, please bless me to be able to do this. And in this way, then from the Guru Deity on our crown, the 5 colored nectar lights emanate, entering into the crowns and bodies of ourselves and all mother sentient beings all around, purifying all negativities and obscurations since a beginningless time, and in particularly purifying the particular obscurations to our being able to realize this point and act on it effectively. And that then we have the conducive conditions of long life, good merit, and an increasing and deepening appreciation of the scriptural and realizational teachings to assist with that. And then with the nectar light coming, which really bestows on us the potential in our own minds to develop in our own continuums that this particular realization of the key point of cyclic existence and the willingness to act on it.
What they shower, that they're running in there and Pamata Tetchel to some such a Pamata Tetchel to any mother David. That the running Chivola, Lama Shaja Segenta, my gentane, but it's a Lama Tarinigo, Kuzo, said to Sosata, Nibaka Super Attention, Sanjay Komamato, but the chess of some Kako.
And so then we finish it at that point, and then we do the dissolution by visualizing at our heart center all of the upturned 8-petaled lotus with a sun and moon disc mandala, and making our invocation prayer to the Guru deity on our crown. O glorious and precious root Guru, come take your lotus and moon seed placed here at my heart. Keep me safe in your kindness. Bestow on me the attainments of your body, speech and mind. And we recite this 3 times, beginning the journey down through our crown, through our central channel, and then reaching our prepared seat, and then understanding that our Guru deity will remain steadfast with us until we attain the state of enlightenment.
Yangse omo a yi uri oma source korana gocha tene gaso tene gaso de ta kanja che ka gaso da robo yaro shaga sa ja sa so oti seje de ka kora de yogo cha ane tene tende nga to omo yeda ma hedo to da ma shama ne source ye ko cha wodi de nga te ta ko de ane de yuso ta na ni yuso ne gaso da la ba sha ja senge 주에서 들려 외세 초대라는 지원에 간지 그 방을 아니 탐자를 외세 참네 외세 참네 그 가서다 지 가서다 지 세지라 아니 그 산제 고마토비엘라 아니 지금 그래서 랑게 자다 롱다 틀레디게 되는 양바디게 쇠 자체마다 샤와라서 같은 게 되면 저기卷这个 세 롱이 卷它就 세 아니 틀레기 卷它就 세네 발 레스로만 야고시 중수 삼사 어디를 고마시 안 하도도 다가제 체제 산제 뇽아니도 산제 고마도 발라 탐에게 낭시데 꽤 치슈와 다 탐에게 낭시게 꽤 탐제 세와 중수 삼사천 안 가나다 다바라 잡아지 차도에지 어디되게 가서데 저걸 남도 계획 아주 개 탐제 세네 발 남도 계획도 야고시 차수 어디를 고마시
And then we visualize, of course, that the 8-petaled lotus folds over those petals to encapsulate the figure of our Guru deity on our heart center, and that this is sealed at the top with a semi-dorje of Vajra, and then it is surrounded by the Sanskrit vowels in a clockwise direction, the Sanskrit consonants in an anti-clockwise direction, and the mantra of dependent origination, again circling this in a clockwise direction. And then from within these powerful rays of light, countless rays of light, emanate out through the leaves of the lotus, and they permeate through every cell of our body-mind system, completely purifying us of all obscurations and negativities, and even the imprints of these, and indeed also dealing with our subtle body with through the channels, the winds and the drops, and that balancing all of those 3 so that they become pliant and very usable by us, and that this helps to indeed put a stop to all ordinary appearances that we have, and so that we're seeing everything within the light of pure appearance, and that we are able to ready to take the result onto the path. And then through the combination of our own most subtle wind acting as the substantial cause with the body of the Buddha, our own body transforms into the enlightened body of a Buddha. And then through the combination of our own most subtle mind acting as the substantial cause, together with the mind of the Buddha acting as the cooperative conditions, our own mind transforms into the mind of a Buddha. Now my whole body, speech and mind are inseparable from the body, speech and mind of a Buddha. And the place I am in transforms into the enlightened place or a realm of a Buddha. This brings forth bliss, which brings forth voidness, and we abide in the wisdom of non-dual bliss and voidness. And then seeing myself as a fully enlightened Buddha, I emanate from my heart center countless rays of light equal in number to all the beings in cyclic existence in all their separate realms, and that the light entering into all their crowns and purifying them of all negativities and obscurations, so that they spontaneously arise as enlightened beings, and indeed all their places also are purified of all fault and stain, and they transform into the enlightened realm of Buddhas. This is really wonderful. Today is a very really special day. I have been able to lead all these sentient beings to the state of enlightenment. That is really something to rejoice in. But I know this is all acting at the level of in my imagination. But I make a powerful dedication now that it will become quickly made manifest for real. We do our Lamrim prayer. From my two collections, vastest space that I have amassed from working with effort for this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives Manjushri. May I find the best of completely bearing the paths of the teachings, and may I praise all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means, strong by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings, with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined. May I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this greater path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may the oceans of prosperity stir everywhere.